I'm adopted, grew up knowing I was adopted, but didn't find out that I had survived that failed abortion until I was 14 years old. My parents knew when they adopted me. They had been told, right, what my future might look like, and they kept it a secret.
Melissa Ohden of Missouri knew nothing but love from her adopted family all her life. But she later learned the disturbing backstory that took place before her adoption.
My parents knew my story, and when I was 14 years old, I accidentally found out because my older sister was facing an unplanned pregnancy herself, was considering every option, which included abortion. And so our parents actually told her my story, hoping that she would understand just how big of a decision she was facing. And so that was 28 years ago now that my sister was told my story, and inevitably, like sisters do, she started to pass some of that information down to me. And so here I was at the age of 14 on a cold October night, asked my mom to explain to me what there could possibly be about my life that I didn't know. And that night she had to tell me that I had survived my own biological mother's abortion.
As she did more research, Melissa learned that by God's grace, she had miraculously survived an attempted late-term saline abortion.
So that type of procedure actually involved injecting a toxic salt solution into the amniotic fluid surrounding me in the womb. And the intent of that toxic salt solution was to poison and scald me to death. We actually know through my medical records that I soaked in it for 5 days. Not 3, but 5, because they could not successfully induce my birth mother's labor. They kept trying. And it wasn't until the 5th day that they succeeded, and I was delivered in the final step of that saline infusion abortion. But instead of being delivered as a successful abortion, I was accidentally born alive.
A compassionate nurse at the hospital was able to whisk Melissa away to another hospital to save this little baby's life.
When I was first delivered, I weighed a little less than 3 pounds. I suffered from severe respiratory, liver problems, seizures. The doctors actually thought I had a fatal heart defect because of the amount of distress I was under. And so they believed that I wouldn't live for very long, that I would suffer from multiple disabilities, but I'm perfectly, quote unquote, perfectly healthy today. My emotional and spiritual scars run much deeper than anything physically.
As Melissa learned of her troubled time in the womb, it was hard for her to take this dark secret well.
This has not been an easy journey for me. You know, years ago, I did not want to be the girl who survived an abortion. It's a very lonely place often to live in. And so, you know, back then, right, I struggled. I faced an eating disorder, alcohol abuse, every possible situation you can think of, right? Trying to run away from the truth about my life. And so many people go through that, right?
But through faith in the Lord, Melissa worked through her grief.
God healed me, and so started looking for my birth parents when I was about 19 years old, started looking for my medical records, and ultimately found both of those things when I was about 30, so back in 2007. So people can see my medical records. I share them freely with Congress all over the world. They're in my book. My medical records say things like a saline infusion for an abortion was done but was unsuccessful. And I ultimately found my birth parents through those records because they forgot to black out their names.
This ultimately led to a meeting of her birth mom for the first time just a few years ago, and they both were shocked at what they learned from each other. Melissa and her birth mom were even able to make a short film together.
I'm the survivor of a failed abortion. I now know that that abortion was forced upon my birth mother, but I am so blessed to now have her in my life. This is my birth mother, Ruth.
We were not allowed to shame the family, basically. We grew up with very strict rules, had to follow the rules, had to toe the line. I dated Melissa's biological dad through high school. He was 2 years older than I was. We dated all through high school. Once he got to college, I tried to break it off, but we ended up staying together. We got engaged, but he did cause a car accident that almost killed my twin sister. And so that was another wrench. You know, it was
another reason for them not to like you.
Right, another reason for them not to like you. I ended up getting pregnant at age 19. One day my mom came in, felt my stomach. She's like, "You're pregnant." And she screamed at us and told us she would take care of it. She had a doctor friend who owed her a favor, and I was snuck in the back door of the hospital, and they started this procedure. It lasted, like Melissa said, it lasted 5 days. Should have only lasted a couple days. And nobody ever examined me. I was never examined by a doctor. Didn't even know I had a boy or a girl. When the baby came out, they said, "Don't look at the baby," which I didn't, because I presumed it was deceased. My mother and my parents then told me the baby had died, and as far as I knew, that was it.
For the next 30 years, Ruth assumed the abortion had succeeded.
And so we finally met face to face a little over 3 years ago. And that's almost hard to describe for me.
I wish I didn't have to wait 30 years to find out that you'd survived.
Would it have been different for you emotionally? I mean, was there baggage over those 30 plus years?
Oh, I wouldn't have hated myself as much.
Today, Melissa Ohden is happily married with children and is a leader among the 300 Americans who survived abortion. She has even testified in Congress against abortion and helped spearhead this ad for the 2020 Super Bowl.
We are the survivors of choice.
But the Super Bowl disallowed the ad, perhaps for being too controversial.
Every child deserves better than what I went through in that abortion. But more importantly, our whole world deserves the restoration and reconciliation that's been done in my life and the life of my biological family. But none of this would have ever been possible if I wouldn't have first been blessed to live, and if I wouldn't have been willing to follow God into all of these little corners of the world. I owe my life to Jesus. That's the only reason why I'm alive. That's the only reason why I'm reunited with my biological family, right? I owe my life to him, and I will follow him every day of my life and preach the gospel to the world.